Hello and welcome. Today we're going to tell you a story, a really compelling one shared with us.
Yeah, it's a personal account describing a series of events that are, well, pretty strange and unsettling.
Definitely. It all seems linked back to a past relationship and what the source calls black magic.
Exactly. And this isn't like academic research. It's someone's firsthand experience, someone we're calling Kun Gon. She describes things that are really hard to explain, kind of uncanny.
Right. So our goal today is to walk through this story as Kun Gon told it. We'll explore the events, the supposed effects on everyone involved.
And, what we can maybe understand about how these kinds of phenomena are perceived, at least within this story's own context.
It starts out simply enough, but it takes a turn pretty quickly into something quite dark. So the story begins with a relationship between two women, Anne, who is working in a hotel in Pattaya, and Jan.
And Jan is initially described as, lovely, really talkative, seems nice.
And their relationship develops pretty normally at first, it sounds like. They moved in together, started sharing their daily lives.
Seems like a strong connection, right? Sharing everything.
But then comes this turning point. A really dark one, according to the account. Anne finds out something pretty shocking about Jan.
Yeah, Jan apparently confesses that her family was involved in, witch doctor practices.
And worse, that Jan herself had used black magic on Anne. Specifically a charm or a love spell. In Thai, it's called Nula Sane.
And the method described, it's really unsettling because it was so constant. Jan apparently prepared food for Anne every single day.
And secretly mixed this magic into the meals. Wow.
Yeah, and the effect described on Anne was intense.
The source says she fell completely head over heels for Anne, just couldn't break away.
Even though other people around her, friends, family, they could see something was off. They actually tried to help, didn't they? Suggesting holy water, amulets, that sort of thing.
Right, but Anne just couldn't see it or couldn't act on it. And there was this rule Jan had.
Oh yeah, the food rule. Anne was absolutely forbidden from letting anyone else eat the food Jan made for her.
Which, in terms of belief systems around magic, that could be part of sealing the spell, targeting only Anne.
Or from another angle, it just looks like a classic control tactic, right? Isolating her.
It's definitely layered. And then eventually, Jan confesses this whole thing to Anne.
Which is bizarre in itself. She apparently said she'd used the magic, but claimed she wanted to know if Anne would love her without it.
And Anne, still supposedly under this influence, just says, yeah, I'd love you anyway. It really shows how deep the reported effect was at that point.
This whole setup is really crucial, though. It establishes the claim of magic right from the start, framing everything that happens next.
So, if Anne was so deeply under this spell, how did she finally get out?
Well, the source says she eventually managed to confide in her aunt and her sister, Piang.
And they'd already suspected something was wrong, right? Because Anne would get weirdly angry if they even asked about Jen.
Exactly. They knew that wasn't like Anne. So they took action.
What did they do?
The aunt gave Anne a visage. That's a specific type of protective amulet, like a cowrie shell, meant to ward off black magic.
Okay.
And they also took her to a temple for a ritual, specifically to remove the magic.
And did it work?
According to the story, dramatically, Anne's intense feelings for John, gone, instantly.
Wow, just like that.
Just like that. But it wasn't replaced with nothing. It was replaced with fear. Fear of what Jan had done.
Gosh. That sudden shift is presented as proof then that the magic was real and it was broken.
Right, but then there's the practical problem. Anne's stuff was still at the house she shared with Jan.
Ah, right, so she had to go back.
Yeah, she tried to act normal apparently, but was super careful.
Yeah.
Refused any food or drink Jan offered her.
And Jan noticed.
Oh yeah, Jan picked up on the change right away. And seeing Anne acting differently, Jan actually broke up with Anne and went back to her hometown.
Huh. Did she think Anne would follow?
The story suggests that was the expectation. Jan probably thought the spell was still working, didn't realize Anne was free. So Anne didn't follow, and they lost contact for a while.
Okay, so the story then jumps forward a bit.
Yeah, some years later. Anne hears about Jan again through someone they both knew.
And the news wasn't good?
No. Jan had late-stage cancer. Apparently only discovered about 2 months before Anne heard about it.
So, despite everything that happened, Anne reached out.
She did. The source says it was out of concern, maybe just basic human decency or, that shared history.
But that didn't go well, did it?
No, it led to a big misunderstanding. Jan apparently thought Anne contacting her meant she still had feelings, wanted to get back together.
Oh boy.
Anne had to explain, no, I've moved on. I'm actually in a new relationship now. with Kun Gan, the person telling this story.
And that caused conflict.
Big time. Old issues came up.
Yeah.
Jan even called Anne's mother, complaining that Anne was abandoning her while she was sick.
Wow. That's manipulative.
Yeah. So, to stop the drama, especially with her new relationship, Anne ended up blocking Jan.
Okay. And the timing of all this is important.
It becomes relevant. This renewed conflict happened shortly before both Anne and Kun Gan got COVID-19. They had to quarantine separately in hotels in Pattaya.
Ah, okay. So they were apart when the next thing happened.
Right. Anne told Kun Gan all about the recent contact and conflict with Jan while they were messaging during quarantine.
And then while they're still in quarantine...
Anne gets news. A message saying Jan had passed away came with a picture from the funeral.
Kun Gan was surprised how quickly it happened after the diagnosis, the source says.
Yeah. And this is where things get really strange. After Jan's death.
What happened?
Kun Gan's last night in quarantine. Her roommate in the hotel room apparently had a terrifying experience.
Okay.
The roommate woke up and saw a female spirit standing there, staring angrily at Kun Gan while she slept.
Oh, wow. Did she describe it?
Yeah, very specific description. Patchy, thin hair, wide eyes.
Yeah.
Just staring. The roommate was, understandably, freaked out.
And Kun Gan thought it was Jan.
Immediately. And when she told Anne about it later, Anne felt the same way, that it was likely Jan's spirit.
Okay, so that's the first really unsettling event post-death, and it escalates from there.
Oh yeah, big time. Kun Gan gets out of quarantine first. Anne has one more day, so Kun Gan goes back to their shared house alone. And as soon as she walks in, she's hit by this overpowering smell of incense.
Incense. But the house had been closed up for 2 weeks, right?
Exactly. 14 days locked up, and the smell was strongest in the bedroom.
That's creepy. In Thai beliefs, isn't unexplained incense sometimes linked to spirits?
Often, yeah. Or offerings. Kun Gan felt instantly that something was very wrong. She got scared and went straight to Anne's house nearby.
Did the aunt and sister believe her, Piang?
They did. They confirmed the smell was weird, not normal.
Yeah.
Kun Gan then told them Jan had died.
And what did they think?
Piang apparently suggested Jan's spirit was probably waiting there for Anne, but got angry or agitated when Kun Gan showed up instead.
Okay, that makes a certain kind of sense within that framework.
But then Piang drops another bombshell. She shares something she saw the night before.
What did she see?
Outside Anne's house. A figure. Very thin, bald with patchy hair, kind of hunched over.
Oh, like the roommate's description.
Exactly.
Ah.
And the face. Piang said it was smiling, this creepy wide-mouthed smile with its tongue dangling out.
Good grief. That's terrifying.
Yeah, it cemented their fears. This really sounded like Jan's spirit manifesting and waiting.
So Kun Gan stayed at the aunt's house. I would too.
Definitely. She was too scared to go back to her own place.
And what about Anne? Still in the hotel?
That same evening, Anne calls Kun Gan from the hotel, totally terrified. She's experiencing similar things there.
Seriously? Like what?
Smelling incense too, hearing knocking sounds, and even seeing Jan's form in the mirror.
Wow. So it wasn't just tied to the house?
Apparently not. But the haunting wasn't done yet. There was another incident, maybe the most dramatic one.
What happened?
At the aunt's house. Kun Gan was having dinner and drinks with Piang, another sister Pyorn, and a friend, Pai Bi. Late, around midnight.
Okay.
Suddenly, Pai Bi goes quiet, just stares intensely at Kun Gan. Her eyes turn wide red.
No.
They ask her what's wrong, and Pai Bi cries out for Anne.
It wasn't Pai Bi talking.
Piang recognized it immediately. Not her voice, not her demeanor. The entity identified itself as Yan,
Oh my god.
demanding to know where Anne was, expressing this intense anger at Kun Gan. And then it apparently said, "I'm taking her body, your body will be mine."
Threatening Kun Gan directly.
Yes. The Anne reacted fast, threw holy water on Pai Bi.
What happened then?
Pai Bi apparently screamed, lunged towards Kun Gan, and then the spirit just seemed to depart, left everyone completely shaken. The gathering obviously ended right there.
That threat, your body will be mine.
Yeah.
Chillin'.
Incredibly. So after all this, the fear level is obviously through the roof for both Anne and Kun Gan.
I can only imagine. How was Anne when she finally got out of quarantine?
Exhausted. Dark circles, looked terrified. She'd been having nightmares, constantly seeing Jan's form in those last days at the hotel.
And then there was something about the cremation.
Yeah, another disturbing detail. A friend of Jan's called Anne later, describing the cremation. And apparently, when they were moving Jan's body into the coffin, a photo of Anne fell out of her clothes.
A photo of Anne hidden on the body.
Yes. Anne's aunt immediately interpreted that through the lens of black magic.
How so?
She believed it was part of a ritual, to tie Anne to Jan, maybe even to cause Anne to die too. The aunt stressed how lucky Anne was that the photo was found.
That adds another layer of planned malice, doesn't it?
It really does. And even staying at the aunt's house didn't fully stop things for Kungan.
The haunting continued there.
One specific incident the source mentions. Kungan woke up needing the bathroom, but was too scared to go alone.
Understandable.
When she finally did, she looked up at the window above the door and saw Jan's face, with her tongue licking the glass, following her movement.
Oh, absolutely not. That's horrifying.
She ran back to the room, terrified. They ended up covering all the windows and mirrors in the aunt's house with newspaper.
Could that help?
It stopped the visual sightings, yeah. But they were still scared, didn't want to go back to their own house.
But they eventually did.
After about 2 weeks, they felt maybe enough time had passed. But they took precautions. And got some holy talismans, Tilia, those sacred designs from a respected monk.
And put them up in their house.
All over. Doors, windows, everywhere.
And did that work? Did it stop the haunting in the house?
At the house, yes. The source says the weird stuff there stopped. No more incense smell, no more feeling of unease inside the building.
Okay, that's good, but there's a but, isn't there?
There is. Kungan started to feel like the protection of the house just shifted the problem onto her.
How do you mean?
She started getting sick all the time, felt constantly weak. And then these really weird episodes started happening whenever she had alcohol.
Weird how? Not just regular drunk behavior.
No, completely different. She'd apparently become quiet, just stare with these wide, angry eyes. Sometimes she'd cry and call out for Anne.
And she wouldn't remember it.
Not at all. Her friends noticed, told her this wasn't her. It was really disturbing.
That sounds awful. And then the accident.
Right, the motorcycle crash. Riding to work, a black dog darts out, she crashes, slides, nearly gets hit by another vehicle.
And she believed Jan caused it.
She was convinced that it wasn't just random bad luck.
And the nightmares continued.
Yeah, while she was recovering from the crash injuries. Frequent nightmares. Always seeing Jan staring angrily at her.
It sounds relentless. Was there another sighting?
One more really significant one described. She was woken up one night by dogs barking like crazy outside. She looked through the curtain.
And saw something.
At the gate, a figure, hunched over, shaking. It slowly looked up, and it was Jan's face again.
Oh man, living in constant fear.
Especially when Anne wasn't home. She felt completely targeted.
Did she try to get more help from the aunt?
She wanted to, but the source says she felt like something was actively stopping her. Every time she tried to go or ask, something would prevent it. Really frustrating.
So how does she finally get help?
The aunt actually came to her. Showed up at Kungan's house specifically, saying a spirit medium wanted to see her, to help her.
Spirit medium?
Yeah, writing song, Pufayanak.
Yeah.
Someone channeling a powerful Naga spirit, basically.
Okay, so Kungan went.
She went to the aunt's house, found Piang, the sister, apparently in a trance, channeling this spirit.
And what did the medium say?
Gave specific instructions. Kungan needed to wear a Thao Wessuwan. That's a necklace with an amulet of Lord Wessuwan, a powerful protector deity against demons and spirits.
Right.
And she also had to always carry the cowrie shell amulet.
Did the medium confirm it was Jan?
Explicitly. Said Jan's spirit was attacking her, using moments of weakness, creating accidents. Confirmed the motorcycle crash was Jan's doing.
Wow. So Kungan followed the instructions.
Immediately. Started wearing the necklace, always carried the shell.
And the effect.
According to the source. Instant and total relief. Everything stopped.
Everything. The sickness, the weird episodes, the nightmares, the feeling of being followed.
All of it. Gone. Just like that.
That must have been an incredible relief.
Huge. Life finally started to return to normal for her and Anne. A period of peace.
But there's always a final twist in these stories, isn't there?
Seems like it. Sometime later, Piang visits again. She'd had a dream.
About Jan.
Yes. Jan's spirit apparently appeared to her, asking for help. Claimed her own father had bound her spirit and was using it for his own purposes.
Her father? The one whose family did witch doctor stuff?
The very same. Piang felt sorry for Jan, wanted to help free her spirit, but apparently the father, being a practitioner himself, was a major obstacle.
So, what happened? Did they try to intervene?
Well, the story takes another turn. Jan's father actually contacted Anne.
He called Anne. What did he say?
He admitted he had used magic on Anne himself before Jan died. But he offered a deal.
A deal.
He said he'd remove any lingering effects of his magic if Anne and her family stopped trying to interfere with Jan's spirit, which he essentially confirmed was under his control.
And Anne agreed?
She did. And she told Piang to let it go, basically citing karma. Jan made her bed, now she has to lie in it, kind of thing.
So that was the end of the spiritual interference.
That seems to be where the active haunting part of the story ends. Kungan and Anne stayed together for about 3 more years after all this, then they broke up.
But the events related to Jan stopped completely after that call from the father.
According to Kungan's account, yes. Nothing more happened after that agreement was made.
The person sharing the story had some final thoughts on it all.
Yeah, reflecting on the whole thing, they speculated about the consequences of using black magic. How it might seem to work short-term, but ultimately bring suffering.
And pondered Jan's fate.
Right. Wondering if her spirit really was trapped by her father, or if maybe because of the karma from using dark magic, she'd become something else, like a puk big.
Which is a type of malevolent spirit in Thai folklore, right?
Yeah.
Associated with dark practices.
Exactly. The source just emphasizes that idea.
Yeah.
Create bad karma, you face the results.
Wow. Okay, that is quite a story, a really intense narrative.
Definitely. We've gone from a relationship supposedly started by magic through terrifying post-death events attributed to a vengeful spirit, all the way to seeking protection through amulets and mediums.
All framed within a very specific cultural understanding of spirits, magic, and karma.
It really highlights how intertwined those beliefs can be with deeply personal, emotional, and frankly frightening experiences.
Yeah.
Raises questions about how we interpret things we can't easily explain.
Absolutely. And this story, as Kungan shared it, really makes you think about the power of intense emotions: love, obsession, anger, fear.
And how different belief systems imagine those emotions manifesting, maybe even impacting the physical world or crossing the veil after death.
It definitely blurs the lines, doesn't it? Between intense psychological states, real interpersonal conflict, and a genuine belief in the supernatural forces described here. What does a story like this really tell us about those boundaries?
It's a lot to think about. How people make sense of trauma and the unexplained within their own worldview.
Indeed. Well, thank you for joining us to explore this unsettling account.
If you found this story compelling, please do like this video, share it with someone who might appreciate it, and subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs, so you don't miss what we uncover next.
Until next time.